Hello, everyone. Um, Welcome back and to my channel. I'm resuming, um, getting back into the habit of getting to post more on a regular basis. There's been a hiatus, and but um, I'm coming back in this December, um, month of reflection, a month everybody's preparing for holidays. Um, but I wanted to not to talk about a subject related to the holidays. Obviously, this is a subject I want to talk about real quick. I don't want to be too long, but I wanted to contrast two concepts. Um, I know everybody's talking about out there in the business world, in the success world. If you have people talk about smart people, intelligent people, people are really quick thinkers and smarts and intelligence in general. So today I wanted to contrast IQ, which is like plain measurable intelligence, smarts. Anybody that knows about IQ knows that the IQ can be measured, and usually IQ is measured between, based on research, 95 and 140. Obviously, the higher the number, the smarter you are called, or the smarter you are classified as, and therefore a lot of people that obviously have high IQ, we can correlate that to success in some way. In success in one way, in what way? Well, when somebody is extremely smart with a high IQ, we know that in life they tend to be more successful in terms of being able to be problem solvers. They usually go a lot in the technical field. There are people that solve problems in engineering, in mathematics, in physics. There are also people that end up being in charge of very important projects and high thinkers. They are critical thinkers. They are quick thinkers because they also have the ability to resolve very complex situations and complex problems. And so those people are called very smart. I mean, they have high level of intelligence. They usually have a lot of degrees, and that is well and fine uh, in the success world and in the business world. Um, and, uh, and that can be very beneficial. You can rise in society pretty well. You can get a good living based on just your intelligence and your smarts. Um, but there's a concept that has been rising a lot in the business world these days, and I've seen it a little bit on the business platforms talking about high level of leadership and things like that. And there's a concept that emerged now that people talk about, and it's called EQ. Um, EQ versus IQ. And again, the talk was which is has more weight than the other these days. Um, Obviously, by introducing and prefacing with IQ, I want to dive into what EQ is. EQ basically is not an official measurable, just like IQ, but EQ, or emotional quota, which has become one of the comparison and contrasting of these concepts of intelligence and versus emotions. And therefore now people's EQ can be measured as well. Measure your level of intelligence, and then we measure your emotional quotient of um, your level of emotional quotient, emotional intelligence. This is regular raw intelligence, which is IQ. Well, people have found out that emotional intelligence has become something very critical in terms of high level of leadership, high level of management. And because, to be honest, emotional intelligence is, somebody can correlate it or can compare it to wisdom, but wisdom is more of a general, um, it's more of a general concept. Emotional intelligence falls into specific situations and circumstances where you actually need that to be able to help you navigate through other ways. That is not just like raw thinking and intelligence. You need emotional intelligence in some situations. Emotional intelligence basically, if you take it to a higher level and quicker without getting into too much of a detail, you can also put that into a successful tool, um, an important and actually very, very important tool into the business world, into the decision world. Because if you get into the business world with just raw intelligence and intellect, and you don't have a level of emotional intelligence, that can be the difference between deals signed or deals lost. That can be the difference between wars started and peace upheld. And so emotional intelligence has become very, very critical in terms of high level leadership. You need emotional intelligence in situations where you need to think, and you need to be very smart with your emotions. We've seen, just because of emotion and lack of emotional intelligence, people get into unbelievable trouble, lack of control of emotions, um, and therefore a very low level of emotional intelligence can hurt actually your ability to be extremely successful. I mean, you can be successful based on intellect and smarts, but when you get into situations that can be life threatening, make or break situation, emotional intelligence can be a very important tool to develop. The way you develop intelligence, emotional intelligence, is truly practicing um, perspective, but also control of situation, taking a step back in every situation, instead of instead of listening to the first reaction and emotion. You take a step back and assess situation in a way that doesn't always has to be the reason. It also has to be a level of emotional control, so that you can assess the situation with both levels. It's important to be smart with intellect, but you also have to develop your level of emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is something that you can learn, you can grow. Emotional intelligence is simply taking the time to think, taking the time not to wrap all your reaction around your emotions, and also um, being able to decipher, right, when to have a certain reaction versus sometimes when not to. Um, I mean, this is a subject that we can get in and dive into unbelievable number of world examples where we've seen people spiral out of control and just crash. And the only thing they were lacking was emotional intelligence. It can affect relationships, it can affect businesses. Emotional intelligence can affect spiritual success, it can affect physical success. Um, and so I highly recommend that you research the what this concept a little bit in depth. Maybe I'll talk about it a little bit more in depth, but I didn't want to go too much into what emotional intelligence or emotional code is, and how you can understand this concept better. But it's a very critical concept when you start talking about rising at a higher levels um, of leading organizations and leadership, um, in business and in life and in all types of situations. Emotional intelligence has become very critical tool to have in your tool bag of success in life. So I'm gonna stop there. This was kind of an introduction to that. We're going to talk about that in a different aspect of the concept as well, maybe in another video that I'm going to be doing. So obviously, I'm gonna be getting you guys a little bit more, getting back into all the subject that I have on the side that I plan to be able to share with you guys. And as usual, this is a chance to add value, to increase everyone. Post comments if you have things that you want to talk about, if you know about that I can learn, and hopefully based off this concept you understand and you learn a little bit about that. And because I just want to add to people, I want to add to on a daily. My channel is a channel of positivity, of growth and increase for everyone, and hopefully people always get something. um, you're not always going to get everything based on what you hear here, but you're free to do your own research, to go in depth into some of the concepts that I'll be discussing in the future as well. And obviously the channel is divided by interest. So when you go on the channel, if you want to get into the financial or business and success or any type of any interest, you have the choice to do that. So as of as usual, again, subscribe to the channel. um, if you like some of the things that you hear, go ahead and like. But I'm more interested about comments and learning from you guys, some of the reaction that you can have, so we can all learn. But again, stay tuned for a lot more concept, a lot more discussion to come. Hopefully in 2022, we'll be on a more stable weekly posting of different concepts and that we're going to be talking about. And I'm going to be talking other things I want to twist the channel into, and the other directions I want to be taking this. We're talking about guests, bringing people to speak, people that have also things that they feel that they want to share, that they are expert into, and I'm going to be, getting people to come on board, and we're going to have some kind of discussion. Either it's going to be Zoom invite or live invite or person to person invite. We're going to have that down the road. So anyway, it's been nice talking to you guys. It was nice to be back posting this new video as we start the new year. Again, this was a little contrast subject that I wanted to have. I had it on the back of my mind, and I had to kind of put this out there for you guys to kind of start pondering also about. And let me know what you think about this concept of EQ versus IQ. Okay, all right, you guys take care.